Okay, if I can get everybody to settle down, we'll get the show on the road here. Thank you. This is great. People are listening to me. At home, nobody listens to me, so that's why I agree to do these events. People do listen when I'm at the podium. It makes me feel important. So thank you. Thank you. My name is Jamil Dada. I am privileged to be chair of the Riverside County Workforce Investment Board, and I'm also chairman of the California Workforce Investment Board. And pleased to be here. We've got some great stuff going on, and hopefully all of you saw our jewel of our workforce program in Riverside County, and that's our mobile one-stop center, which is outside. And if you hadn't seen it before, you should go by and take a look at it. There are 550 local workforce investment boards around the country, and only a handful of those boards have a mobile unit like that. So I want to thank our County Board of Supervisors, including Supervisor Stone, for allowing us to acquire that. It's been a great asset for us. So I don't want to steal anybody's thunder because you'll be hearing from all the experts later, but let me just put into context how important what we're doing today is. Healthcare has become a jobs oasis in this economic recession. So while the economy has lost 7.5 million positions during this recession, healthcare has actually expanded. Together with social assistance, it will add more than 5.6 million employees to become the largest job gainer in the next 6 to 8 years. So, in contrast to that, manufacturing is actually losing jobs. So healthcare is the place to be, and so we're glad we're here. And I will ask Supervisor Jeff Stone to come up first and make some remarks. Supervisor.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It's nice to see everybody bright and early this morning in this beautiful edifice, Temecula City Hall. It's great to follow Jamil Dada. One thing he didn't tell you is that he also was not just the California representative on the Workforce Development Board, but he was also the national chairman. And I was in Washington, D.C. with him when he was given that title and sworn in by former President Bill Clinton. I was there and saw it. And Jamil is seen as a leader in workforce development throughout the United States. And what a great time it is to have him helping lead the effort as we see some of the highest unemployment in the country right here in this very region. For those of you that may be new to Riverside County or don't know about some of our geographics and demographics, we're the 4th largest county in the state. We're home to 2.3 million people. We are still the fastest growing county in the state of California, even in this economic climate. So there are plenty of opportunities that exist here today, and I think as we begin to see the economy turning around and all the indicators are showing that things are getting better, you couldn't be at a better place at a better time if you're looking for employment. I sat on the Temecula City Council for 12 years. And then I was elected to the County Board of Supervisors, where my role as a public official diversified. And one of the areas that we deal with at the Board of Supervisors is the delivering of social services. And we have a county hospital, which is in Moreno Valley, which serves this entire county. It's one of the few county hospitals that actually operates in the black, which I'm very proud of. I sit on the governing board of the hospital. And there are many opportunities that exist for those of you that may be thinking of going into healthcare. As an example, we have at the county hospital something called the 2020 program. And that is if you are a LVN nurse and you want to become an RN, we have a county-sponsored program along with Riverside Community College where we will pay you 40 hours a week and you only have to work 20 hours per week, and we will pay your tuition and allow you to get an RN in exchange for you working for the county for a number of years after you graduate. So if tuition is a hardship for you and you find that you need a 40-hour work schedule in order to make ends meet, you may want to look into the county's 2020 program. We also have a rapidly aging population, of which I hate to say, I'm a member of. Over 10,000 people a day are going into retirement. And the federal government, either through Medicare or through a government-sponsored health care plan that our president is trying to implement, we are going to see tremendous opportunities and needs in the healthcare arena. Mount San Jacinto College District, Cal State San Marcos, UCR are aware of the growing needs of healthcare in this region and are adapting their curriculums to reflect the same. It's incredible that in the county that is the fourth largest in the state that we don't have even one medical school operating today. But we'll tell you that we are on the road to getting our first medical school at UCR, hopefully having their first freshman class in the very near future. It was supposed to happen in the summer of 2010, but unfortunately, due to the state's economic condition, that has been postponed. And today, you will hear from another great leader in Riverside County, Dr. Olds, who is the dean of the medical school, the future medical school at UCR. I also come to you today not only as a full-time elected official, but I'm also a pharmacist by profession. I own and operate innovative compounding pharmacy in Murrieta. Fortunately, I have a couple of partners that get the operation running full-time in my absence, although I do spend a couple of days a month there overseeing the operation. And just a quick story to tell you how I ended up being a pharmacist. My great uncle Abe was a physician and practiced in Los Angeles, and my grandfather was an immigrant from Russia, opened a shoe store. I used to spend Saturdays with him in Santa Monica watching him sell his wares. He was a very successful businessman. My uncle was a very successful doctor. I admired and loved them both very much and thought about what I wanted to do and put the two together, and that's where pharmacy entered the picture. And then after owning 6 pharmacies and living in this beautiful city, saw some graffiti popping up on one of the buildings, and I told my wife I didn't want to see that in this beautiful city of Temecula, and she said, well, then you need to do something about it. And I said, what can I do? She goes, you need to run for city council, and that's how the political tenure actually started. So today it's kind of interesting going for a full circle as a public official where I now can utilize my medical education as a part of my job on the County Board of Supervisors, as we have 10 medical clinics throughout the county. We're the delivering body of health care to the underserved population of Riverside County. But it has been certainly a labor of love in working with a number of the elected officials that will be following me here today. We have a wonderful county. We have a wonderful future medical school, and because we're the fastest growing in the state of California, you need to understand that there is going to be a lot of great opportunities that you're going to learn about today. So I wish you all the success in finding employment, and if there's anything that my office can do to help you, or if you want to learn more about the 2020 program, if you want to learn more about opportunities that exist at the county hospital, or if you're interested in political science, if you're interested in knowing about the county of Riverside as an employer, being that we are the largest employer in Riverside County. We employ 18,000 people under which the Board of Supervisors manages, and including our chairman, John Tavallone. So if you're interested in some of these opportunities, you're welcome to contact me. I'll give you my website. It's supjeffstone.org. And I look forward to hearing from you, and I wish you all the best of luck, and thank you for being here today to learn about the opportunities that exist here locally and throughout Riverside County. God bless.
Thank you, Supervisor. As I bring our next guests up, I see a lot of people standing, and there are quite a few seats. So please, I try to squeeze in. There are actually bunches of empty seats as well up towards the front, because there's some great stuff that's going to happen back here that you really should hear. So please get comfortable. And as the supervisor leaves, I want to thank, overall, I want to thank the County of Riverside. And then next, I'd like to welcome And a special thank you to the City of Temecula for allowing us to have this here. And on behalf of the City of Temecula, Councilmember Jeff Cormachero. Sir.
Thank you, Jamil, and thank you, Jeff. Always great to see you here in our chamber. We miss you. I had the pleasure of serving with Jeff Stone for a good many years here on the Temecula City Council, and we do miss him. But he's doing great things at the county, so keep it up. On behalf of the City of Temecula and our Mayor and City Council, I know Mayor Chuck Washington is here. I would like to welcome you here this morning. You know, just to give you a little background on how we got here, our city has always been very involved in the National League of Cities, and several of us on the council go to their conferences each year, and we bring back an awful lot of information. And late last year, after I came back from one of those conferences, I sat down with our senior management team, and I said, there's two things that I want to see us do in the coming months. I want to see us start off the process of creating a business incubator, which now we're in full swing and getting ready to implement, looks like July 1st, in our old City Hall building. And I said, in addition to that, I want us to have a jobs fair. There's no reason that we can't help our citizens that are out of work and looking for work and match them up with employers who we know are looking for good people to fill those positions. And I have to give just great kudos to our city manager, Bob Johnson, and his staff. Christine Damko helped a lot, is here. She really was instrumental in putting this together. And the one thing I told him is, I don't want a jobs fair where we just invite people to come and learn about different careers and kind of set them on the path. We want to put people to work. And for employers who are here, the one thing we asked of them, if you're going to come here and show off your business a little bit, that's great. Come with a job. Don't come if you don't have at least one job to fill. And I said, you know what, if we can put one person to work in this city, in this region, this event will have been a success. And I know we're going to do far better than that based on the level of participation that we have here. And, you know, just another word, I guess it's looking for a job in a way. If any of you have had any thoughts about getting involved in local government, you hear, you know, you turn on any TV station now and you see any one of a number of presidential candidates and other candidates, and their mantra is jobs, jobs, jobs. That's all they want to talk about, and they should be talking about that. But sometimes it's nothing more than rhetoric. Here at the local level, we can do something. We can really get involved and help people's lives. And I'll tell you, it's worked for me. Just find a passion and follow it. And this has always been my passion, or at least for the last 15 or 20 years. So welcome. Don't just come here to listen. Come here to do something really good. And to all the employers who are showing out there, put these people to work. That's why we're here. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Jeff. And now, as I call the next guest up, I want a special thank you to the City of Murrieta. And Randon Lane is a good friend. And Randon, if you could come up from the City of Temecula, Councilmember Randon Lane.
He said Temecula, but it's actually Murrieta. I'm from the City of Murrieta. That's all right. No, it's all right.
From the City of Murrieta, of course. I can't believe I said that.
I can't believe you said it either.
But see, you know how it is, we always screw up on the people we love the most.
Okay,
so,
I'll take that.
Because you're a friend and I don't know the others that well, I figured if I'm going to have a slip up, it's got to be with you. From the great city of, the magnificent city of Murrieta.
Thank you.
Randon.
How's everybody doing this morning? Glad to hear that. Harry Truman once said that it's a recession when your neighbor loses his job. It's a depression when you lose yours. And I would agree with that 100%. It's interesting, in 2008, after being in the telecom industry for 17 years and during a reorganization, I became a statistic as part of the unemployment in Riverside County. And for 6 months, I looked long and hard for a job. And that can be a very difficult thing. As a husband and a father of 3, it wears on you daily. Someone else said, and I can't remember who it says, is that the bad part about being out of work is at the moment you wake up, you're on the job. And so it became a daily grind as I went day to day trying to find work. And it can wear on you. And so luckily I was able to find a position with a good company and was able to get back on track. So I know what each and every one of you is going through today. It's frustrating. It seems like a big hill to climb. In 2010 or late 2009, I had gone to our city staff and said, you know what, I hear a lot of people who say they're looking for work, and I hear a lot of businesses who say we're trying to hire. Let's try and bring them together. And we hear about numbers, and you hear about unemployment numbers, and the percentages are mind-boggling. You know, when we look in Riverside County, and we're at 14, Jeff, 14, somewhere 12%. But you look at Imperial County, and they're close to 24% unemployment. And so when you look at these numbers, it's mind-boggling, but when you see the number of people that are actually hiring and the people that are looking for work, we can bring those people together. And so I had asked staff, let's put a jobs fair on. And we had a jobs fair in the city of Murrieta, and it was never more apparent to me as I stood in the city lot and I walked along the line, and as the line went through the parking lot and walked out onto the street, and it became very apparent that we needed to be doing more in our communities. And so this year, when our staff had talked to the Workforce Investment Board, and then they had talked with the city of Temecula, and we decided to join forces to do this jobs fair, there's an opportunity. I've already been over and talked with some of the businesses, and Jeff is right. We wanted companies not just to be here to say, hey, look at our company, but we're not hiring. That's a waste of everybody's time. So you have businesses in there that are hiring. And we're glad that you're here today, and we want to be here and we want to be supportive. It's not my phone. I turned mine on mute. But we want to be here and we want to be supportive. And if there's anything that we can do, and I'll give you my email address is rlane, L-A-N-E, at murrieta.org. My cell phone number is 951-830-3485. It's also on the website. If there's anything that I can ever be of help with, if there's anything that I can ever do to point you in the right direction, please don't hesitate to shoot me an email or give me a call. But we want to be here today for you. We want to be supportive, and there's going to be a lot of good things that are going on today. So thank you very much for taking the time to be here and to take out of your looking for a job to come here and look for a job here at this city, and to see if there's things that we can do and get you in contact with those employers. Thank you so very much for your time, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you, Randon. And this was a great idea that you gentlemen had several months ago when you thought about doing this, and we're just happy to be a part of it. And our next guest, also a special thank you goes to our third city, the city of Lake Elsinore, and we have representing the city of Lake Elsinore, Mayor Brian Tisdale. Sir.
Thank you, Jamil. On behalf of the City of Lake Elsinore, I would like to welcome all of you to this job fair, and thank you to the organizers, employers, and organizations represented here that are bringing jobs to Southwest Riverside County. And that's the key, bring in jobs, because right now we have this workforce, and most of our workforce spends their time going outside of the county. When I moved out here in 1998, it was a beautiful place. And when I retired from the Marine Corps, I spent about 4 years working in San Diego. And so it's a challenge, and all of our jobs seem to be outside of the county. So we want folks here that are bringing jobs to this area. I want to give a special thanks to the City of Temecula for hosting this event. This is so important. To the applicants, I'm confident that you will appreciate the diverse job opportunities here today. Not only at this job fair, but throughout Southwest Riverside County. For those of you who are successful in this job fair, I want to put in a little plug for our area. For those of you that don't live here, consider making this your home. Our part of the county has many great things to offer. Temecula, Murrieta, and Lake Elsinore are the number 1, 2, and 3 school districts in the county. We have great entertainment, we have great neighborhoods, and we have the largest freshwater lake in Southern California. And so if you're into recreation, because we always have to do a plug for Lake Elsinore has skydiving, baseball, hand gliding, motocross, and a wonderful lake to enjoy. So, you know, things aren't all rosy, but our economy is starting to turn. You know, it's not the levels we want to see, but they're getting better. There are some positive things, though. So in 2011, we saw increases in our non-farm employment throughout Riverside and San Bernardino County to the tune of about 22,000 jobs. Trade, transportation, utilities are up over 6,800 jobs. Wholesale trade has gained 3,400 jobs, and there's retail gained over 800 jobs. So things are happening, things are getting better, and I appreciate the folks today that are bringing jobs to our area so our folks don't spend 2 hours on the highway trying to look for a job. So again, think about us. So I want to thank you again for being here. Good luck to the employers. Good luck to the applicants. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Tisdale, and thank you especially for reminding us what a great region this is. I mean, Riverside County should be proud that the Southwest region is a part of our county. So once again, a great thank you, a big thank you to the three cities, Temecula, Murrieta, and Lake Elsinore. And before I bring up our keynote speaker, I want to remind all of you that after our speaker, we have a couple of panels that are going to be fantastic. We've got some experts that are going to be talking about various healthcare fields and issues. That's really why we're doing this. So we urge you to stay and listen to them, please. So as I move on, at this time I do want to thank also the Riverside County Workforce Investment Board and their staff, and especially our Southwest Committee that coordinated this event. Since I'm thanking the Workforce Investment Board, Felicia, can you just step up and raise your hand? Felicia Flournoy is the director. She makes my job really easy, her and her staff. They just told me, make sure you wear socks to match your shirts and show up at the podium. And my job is easy. I just show up at the podium, and they do all the hard work. So thank you, and all the staff that put this on. So as we bring up our keynote speaker, I have to tell you something that most people don't know about him. Dr. Richard Olds, and the supervisor mentioned him as well, is the dean of the School of Medicine at the University of California, Riverside. Randon, did you notice I didn't say another UC? I said it right. Anyway, Dr. Olds is actually a tropical disease specialist. So if any of you are going to Hawaii or the Caribbean or the Fiji Islands, we may want to consult with Dr. Olds. And the sad part here is that it's been 46 years since the last School of Medicine. And even today, we're graduating the same number of physicians as we were 15 years ago. And we can't get the governor and the legislators to say, here's some money for your School of Medicine. So as Dr. Olds comes up and talks, I want to remind all of you, please support that School of Medicine. We need all of you to be writing letters, or if you come in contact with your legislators, or send letters to the governor, that we've got to have this, because healthcare is a huge field and we need the funding. 46 years, it's just mind-boggling. Dr. Olds, sir, thank you so much for making time for us out of your busy schedule. We're really proud of all what you're trying to do, and we're all with you. And thanks again for being here. Dr. Richard Olds.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to tell you a little bit about the med school, but I noticed that the title that was given to me was Non-Traditional Health Careers, I think was the title of the keynote address. So I think one of the opportunities you have when you're starting a new medical school, you already heard there hasn't been any new medical schools in a long time, by the way, in the entire West Coast of the United States, is it gives you an opportunity to step back and look at what we're doing well and what we're not doing so well in healthcare in the United States. So, you know, when we talk about non-traditional careers in healthcare, I think what we're talking about is how do we get doctors to actually practice in places where we actually need physicians, since the traditional way is to let them practice in the affluent areas and leave less affluent areas of our country unpopulated with physicians. How do we get physicians to go into the fields we actually need rather than the fields that are most lucrative or have the best lifestyles? You know, the American way, we're very good in this country at letting you get desperately sick and then saving your life at the end. By the way, it's a useful skill. We plan to teach that in our med school. But, you know, this is hardly a very cost-effective way to build a healthcare delivery system. And perhaps most disturbing is the American way is let's figure out a way how to not treat high blood pressure and diabetes for 30 or 40 years, allow their primary care to be delivered in emergency rooms until they burn out their kidneys, and then we'll put them on renal dialysis for $250,000 a year. And it's because of that type of healthcare system the United States spends 2.5 times the next closest industrialized country in healthcare. And by the way, we're dead last. We're 19th out of 19 developed countries in every measurable health outcome as a result of that type of strategy. Now, they mentioned I'm a tropical disease specialist, so the truth in advertising, I spent most of my professional career outside the United States. In fact, I've gotten most of our good ideas about this medical school from other countries with far less resources than we have, who have had to address the very same health issues that we're faced here in inland Southern California. So as we begin to design a medical school, how might we do this differently? Well, first of all, let's take a look at the problem. Inland Southern California has a 3,000 physician deficit today, and probably even more disturbing, we have less than half the primary care doctors that we need. In fact, this is really a striking area. This is the only area I think I've seen in the United States with an absolute deficit in virtually every type of specialty except plastic surgery and dermatology, by the way. And so this is an excellent place to practice medicine. Now, what does that mean, 3,000 physician deficit? Well, the entire state of Indiana has a 2,000 physician deficit, but Indiana is just getting older. Inland Southern California is getting older, it's getting bigger, and oh, by the way, 40% of the doctors that practice in this area look like me. They're 55 years of age or older. They will not be practicing in 10 years. So we will have a 5,000 physician deficit and less than a third the primary care doctors we have in 10 years, no matter what anybody does. Now that's a big problem because when you're not delivering primary care, then what's happening is your population is not being kept well, and therefore your utilization of your hospitals and resources and costs, et cetera, go up. So clearly this is a huge problem. I'm worried about who's going to take care of me in 10 years, so that I have lots of motivation to build this new medical school. So there are 8 medical schools currently in the state of California. We've already mentioned that's a bit of a problem because we're training the same number of doctors today as we did 15 years ago, despite a 25% increase in our population. So by the way, we're third from the bottom in med school slots per capita. We have about half the med school slots of the US average. We also, by the way, are woefully behind in graduate medical education. Those are the training that occurs after medical school in the state of California as well. As a result, the vast majority of Californians who want to go to med school actually don't train in the state of California. They have to train in other states. Now that's interesting because the only other places they'll get into medical school are the private medical schools in the Midwest and the East, which pre-selects a different group of people to go to med school, which is basically the sons and daughters of more affluent people in California. And when they return, isn't it amazing that they return to the more affluent areas of California? Today, there are 4 areas of California with an absolute surplus of both primary and specialty care. I bet you can imagine where those are. We just don't happen to live in one of those areas. So if you're designing a med school to address that issue, how would you do it? There's only 2 determinants of where doctors practice. Where they come from, equally divided between where you're born, where you went to high school, and where you went to college, and where you finish your training. So actually, the med school is completely irrelevant in that equation. So I am not here to build a medical school. I'm actually here to build an entire pipeline. It's the only way to solve this problem. So we need to train students from our own geographic area, preferentially. If I have 2 identically trained students, one from Oakland, well, maybe not Oakland, one from San Francisco, and one from Temecula, I have a fighting chance of getting the student from Temecula to end up practicing here. But I probably have virtually no chance of getting that student from San Francisco to stay here. They're going to return to San Francisco. So I have to develop pipeline programs, K through 12, through the colleges, not just for medical school, but for all healthcare professionals. What I'm saying today, yes, is slanted toward our medical school, but is equally true for nursing training, physician assistant training, virtually all healthcare professionals. We need a stronger pipeline for our own students because they're much more likely to stay and practice healthcare in this area. And on the other side, I have to develop graduate medical education programs in all the specialties that in particular short supply. That's all 3 of the primary care specialties of general internal medicine, general pediatrics, and family medicine. And in addition, general surgery, OB, and psychiatry. Those are the 6 specialties that are in particularly dire straits in inland Southern California. So I'm basically here building a pipeline. So when you hear us talk about the med school, it's not just the med school. Now we have to do something else. Just building the med school, they're still not necessarily going to go into all the right specialties. Now when you think about how medical education occurs in the United States, it's not surprising that we get the result on the other end. Basically today, the other 8 medical schools, only 1 in 5 of their graduates go into primary care, the one area of medicine that we desperately need in this state. Now why is that? Well, I would argue part of the problem is we're probably picking the wrong students to go to med school in the first place, interestingly. 2, we are training them largely in a tertiary referral university hospital setting. Is it surprising that they don't want to go out and practice in an outpatient setting? 95% of healthcare in the United States takes place in outpatient settings. 95% of medical education takes place in university hospitals. In addition, the vast majority of the faculty in those medical schools are all specialists. Are we somehow shocked that all of the students going through those medical schools all want to become specialists? So if you're going to design a medical school for a different outcome, you've got to start at the beginning. Let's take a different group of students from our own area, and let's train them in the environment that we want them to practice in, which is largely an ambulatory teaching platform here in inland Southern California. We keep them here for their graduate medical education. We have greater than 80% chance that those graduates will stay. If you will, this is the how do you keep them down on the farm once they've gone to Gay Paris approach. We just never let them go to Gay Paris or Los Angeles or San Diego or San Francisco. We basically take our own students. We train them here in an environment conducive to them going into the fields we need. And at the end of the day, a high percentage of them are going to stay and practice in the community. That's the plan. By the way, there are some additional issues about our school that are important. We need physicians that come not only from our communities, but are representative of the populations they treat. This is something I learned for many years in third world countries. Whether it's Uganda or it's the Philippines or China, quite frankly, they don't want American doctors coming over there for 2 years. They want their own physicians that come from their own communities that understand their patients, and our population deserves nothing less. So we need to have the same diversity in the physician and, for that matter, the healthcare workforce that is represented in our communities. Because if all you want is your doctors to prescribe medicine, I can teach them, as I do, medical Spanish. But if you want them to change what they eat, and you want them to exercise more, and you want birth spacing and breastfeeding, having physicians that come from those communities are a huge asset into improving the health of the whole community, not just individual patients. So the diversity of the workforce is another important aspect. And finally, we have a unique mission. I'm actually a little apologetic it's unique. Our mission is to actually improve the health care of the community we serve. Now, wouldn't you think that'd be the mission of every med school in the United States? Certainly every public med school. Very rare mission. But that means we have to structure the med school differently. We are not basically going to come in here and create a hospital and practice to compete with all the other doctors and hospitals in our area, like all the other 8 medical schools do. We're working with the physicians, hospitals, healthcare delivery systems that already exist in this community, and we're going to make them all better around the common message of improving the health care of everyone in our community. That should be the mission of our medical school. And oh, by the way, inland Southern California is in the bottom quartile of every measurable health outcome in the state of California, so we have a lot of work to do together. So that's where we are with the med school. We have a lot of experience. We've been training half of a medical school training with the University of California, Los Angeles for 30 years. That's a big advantage, so we already know how to do the first 2 years of med school. We're in the process of expanding that to 4 years and developing the graduate medical education. As Supervisor Stone has already mentioned, we would have already been open today if we hadn't been trying to build a public university medical school in a bankrupt state. So one of the problems is I can no longer depend on opening this school based on state money alone. And I think I learned my lesson last year. It was very clear that if I had to depend on something happening in Sacramento, I wouldn't get the school open for another 2 or 3 years. So we began last year to raise what is the minimum amount that we believe we'll need to get the doors open, to have a medical school opening in 2013, our current goal, and that goal is to raise $10 million a year for 10 years, and I'm very close to that goal. Now, I want to publicly thank the county supervisors who were the first dollar in, I can tell you, and toward that goal. Without their support, we would not be there today. But right now, we're still on track to open this med school in 2013. We will open with only 50 students. That's the minimum opening I can get open. But the important thing is we have to get open. Because once we're a certified medical school, we're also in a position to get federal money because we would be one of only 3 medical schools in the United States in a Hispanic serving institution. So there's a lot of reasons why we need to get open. And at least today, I believe we will get there by 2013, no matter what the governor says about our budget. Having said that, we will ultimately need state support, but I think that's why I need you to continue to advocate for our medical school. It is desperately needed in our community. I believe we have a unique, if you will, non-traditional approach to medical education. But if we are successful in addressing the healthcare needs of this particular area of California, I'll predict in 30 years every med school in the United States will convert to that method, because that's ultimately the only way to drive change. Change in existing medical schools, having spent most of my life in traditional med schools, is very difficult. The only way to make change is when you start something new, do it differently, be successful, and the rest of the world will beat a path to your door. That's the plan. I want to thank you all for an opportunity to tell you about the new medical school at the University of California, Riverside. Very excited about it. I think it'll have a major impact on this community. Remember, every primary care doctor I can get to stay and practice in inland Southern California is a $1.5 million small business. For every dollar charged in that small business, there is $30 in downstream revenue in hospitalizations and x-rays and pathology and subspecialty referrals, and this is not new money. Today, 40% of the healthcare dollars in this area get in cars and have their elective surgery in San Diego or in San Francisco or in Los Angeles or in Irvine. We need that money to stay in inland Southern California, where it'll reverberate and support the communities that we live in. And that's the economic opportunity of starting a med school. The med schools in general are the schools in any comprehensive university that have the largest financial impact on their community. And quite frankly, this has become an area of social justice. Today, the other 5 medical schools in the state of California, each of them receive over $50 million in state support today, and last year, those 5 medical schools and their combined hospitals made $770 million in profit, for which they cross-subsidized their medical schools by over $500 million. So, you know, quite frankly, it's a matter of fairness. Those medical schools were built when the population of California was all on the coast, and they continue to get a lot of financial support from the state. Inland Southern California deserves a little of that financial support, and with your help, we're going to get it eventually. Thank you very much.
You know, inland Southern California is indeed lucky to have a tireless, selfless citizen like Dr. Oles. Your passion is infectious, sir, and UCR is lucky to have drawn you here, because I know you will make this happen, and we're with you. So thanks again. Let's give him one more round. Thank you, Dr. Oles. And we've got an educators panel and a professionals panel coming up. And I want to just once again tell you that your Workforce Investment Board is funded, like the other 550 boards, by Congress through the Workforce Investment Act and the Department of Labor. And we provide services not just for job seekers, also for businesses. And your Workforce Investment Board does some great work. And I was talking about the passion with Dr. Oles, and the next gentleman I want to introduce also is a very, very passionate member of our executive committee on our county Workforce Investment Board. And he will be facilitating the next 2 panels, and I think all of you are familiar because he represents the Southwest region on the county's Workforce Investment Board. So Morris Myers is the director of the Southwest Economic Development Corporation and will take over from here on facilitating the panels. Thank you, and Morris, thanks for all that you do for the county, for the region, and for our board.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you, everyone. And, you know, we're going to do this without any further ado. I appreciate you all being here. At this point in time, you've listened to some speeches, a little bit of information. What we're doing now is giving you some real information about jobs in the healthcare field. And so with that, I would like to introduce our employers panel to come up. That would be Christina Del Grippo with Southwest Healthcare, Laurice Flasnick with Rady Children's Hospital of San Diego, and Jeff Stone of Innovative Compounding Pharmacy. If we can get you to come around and sit up directly behind me here. I think we've got microphones live for you. They're going to give you a quick introduction, and then they're going to tell you about jobs in their fields.
there, how are you? Maurice Vlasnik.
Jeff, would you start us off?
Sure. Thank you, Morris, and thank you again, Dr. Olds, for your great presentation. As I mentioned before, I'm a full-time elected official in the County of Riverside. I'm a pharmacist by profession, graduated from the USC School of Pharmacy, I'm sorry to say, in 1981. So I've been a pharmacist for 31 years, a registered pharmacist, and I've been able to utilize my medical education background in the County of Riverside, where we're really the delivering arm, if you will, of the state of California in providing health care, including mental health, county hospital services for the indigent population of Riverside County. As I mentioned before, our population is 2.3 million people. Our unemployment numbers are one of the highest in the state at around 14.5%. So our utilization of our county hospital is, and our clinics are up, as you can imagine, significantly, seeing people that we really haven't seen in the past with the economic climate that exists today. We still find that there is a shortage of many professionals. You've heard that we're certainly underserved with physicians. We're underserved pharmacists. We're underserved respiratory therapists. We're underserved nursing staff. And even in this climate of unemployment, the County of Riverside last year hired 1,000 people. So there still exists, even with all the doomsdayers reporting on television and on the media, we're still hiring in the County of Riverside. So if you have an interest in healthcare, if you have an interest in social services, if you have an interest in being a deputy sheriff, we're expanding our jails in the county. We'll be hiring a number of correctional deputies in the near future. So there is tremendous opportunities that exist right here at home with the county's largest employer, that being the county. So I'm very excited about sitting on this panel here today. I hope that I could inspire some of you to aspire to public service or just go into the healthcare sciences and fulfill a need with our, again, rapidly aging population and our rapidly booming population here in Southwest Riverside County.
We've been given a list of questions that you might have interest in. And first of all, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Maurice Vlasnik. I am the nurse recruiter with Rady Children's Hospital of San Diego. I am, however, a 22-year resident of the city of Murrieta, and so I am very familiar with some of the challenges that we do face in the job care market, or in the job market itself. I also have been in your shoes, not in the very distant past. I was unfortunately laid off from my position, and it took about 17 months to find another career opportunity. So I have, so to speak, been there, done that with you, and you do have my empathy and my respect for coming out and being proactive. That being said, one of the questions that we have been asked to discuss is where do we see some of the emerging trends as they relate to occupations in the healthcare profession? One of the things that I'm seeing is not quite as acute of a nursing shortage that we have seen in the past. However, this is absolutely going to be a challenge that we do face as our population does continue to age. So there will be, in the not too distant futures, many, many opportunities for registered nurses, LVNs, and other nursing professionals. We will see, in my opinion, a lot of these opportunities in long-term care facilities, assisted living facilities, and in hospice types of organizations. These will be professionals that will be targeted toward the aging population and some of the healthcare challenges that they do face. Additionally, I see opportunities available for pharmacists. One of the things that we are even currently seeing a critical shortage for is clinical laboratory scientists. These are licensed professionals within any given state, and they are the folks that in a hospital or in an outpatient lab or sometimes in an independent facility will perform the analyses on blood and other body fluids and body specimens. Let's be frank, this is healthcare after all. And then licensed medical lab technicians. This is also a position that works in the laboratory that would require typically a 2-year degree, whereas a clinical laboratory scientist would require a bachelor's degree. I also do see a shortage for health information professionals, coders, people who are billing insurance companies and government insurances in order to maximize reimbursement. And then lastly, one of the things that I do see need for currently and increasing in the future is compliance and legal professionals as related to healthcare. Christina?
Hi, I'm Christina. I'm with Southwest Healthcare here in the local community. For those of you that don't know, we are the 2-hospital system here. We have one hospital located in Wildemar and one in Murrieta. We actually have a 3rd hospital that's being built as well in the Temecula area that's due to be completed in 2013. So lots of opportunity for local residents. When that does come to fruition. Not sure exactly when those positions are going to be filled. I'm sure probably within the end of 2012, 2013, we'll start looking at that. But just to share a personal story, for a lot of you, I'm here to tell you, it can be difficult to get into a hospital. I know firsthand. My healthcare experience for the 10 years of my career was with outside agencies, and I started with Southwest Healthcare 6 months ago. I had tried applying for over a year, got rejected several times. I'm here to tell you, be pleasantly persistent. Whatever you do, follow up. I think that's one of the key points in trying to find a job is follow up. Make sure that you follow up with an individual, send emails, make those phone calls. I think that's the biggest component to why I got the job. So I'm here to tell you it can work. So I just wanted to share that personal story.
One of the other things that I did want to mention as an emerging trend, Dr. Olds did describe the severe physician shortage that we do face in our county. There are also mid-level professionals who can become primary care providers and typically do practice in that capacity. And we're talking about people like nurse practitioners, physician assistants, clinical nurse specialists, and these are typically master's prepared individuals, but they do work very closely with patients. Depending on the level of education that they have, they do prescribe some medications. And so for those of you who might be interested in transitioning your career into a higher level healthcare career, this would be something that would be an opportunity for you.
I also might expand on the workforce development offices that we have. We have a major office in Murrieta on Technology Drive. We have one in also brand new, the Hemet Service Center on State Street in Hemet. And these facilities are free to the public. There's computers. You'll meet with a professional that will help you get online to find a potential job for you. There's resume training. There's job interview training, and we actually have some employers that come in and offer training so that you can work for the respective fields that are emphasized in the various geographical areas of the county. We're seeing some changes in healthcare. We're seeing expanded roles. You're seeing expanded roles of nurses, nurse practitioners that can prescribe medicine, play a more active role in the healthcare of the citizens. We have naturopathic physicians now that emphasize a wellness orientation to healthcare. Of course, we have an osteopathic school of medicine in Pomona that provides physicians, and then of course our allopathic medical schools like UCR. So, I would encourage you, even if you're not looking at healthcare in specifics, to utilize one of these workforce development offices. They see upwards of 8,000 people a month coming through there. Again, it's a free service, and we have been very successful in locating jobs commensurate with skill sets. And again, we do provide some training for enhancing your skills. As some people have found that their job is just no longer viable in the area, and we see emerging jobs in solar energy, water efficiency, and we want to make those jobs available to this emerging field in our county. So I would encourage you to go to the workforce development centers and let our team of professionals assess your skills and try to match a job commensurate with your abilities. Also, one other thing, when we talked about expanding roles of medical professionals, I just attended a statewide seminar for what are called SART professionals, sexual assault response teams. So we have nurses that are specially trained that work either full-time or on an on-call basis at the county hospital. I know Rancho Springs is going to be opening their SART facility up, and what this is that we see sexual assault crimes, victims of sexual assault then go to these special SART centers where they are examined by trained professionals that not only are there to comfort the victims that have gone through this horrific experience, but these nurses are specially trained to gather evidence so that we can provide that evidence with the prosecutors that will be taking the cases to trial to make sure that we have all the essential components of a case that gives them the best chance of prosecuting these heinous individuals. And there's been a lot of technological changes. You have the state forensic labs, which is another area of opportunity you may explore. There are 47 state labs throughout the state of California. There are 57 counties, so many counties have their own, some of the larger ones like San Francisco, LA. But the technology is just changing so fast. As an example, it used to take upwards of 14 days to extract the DNA out of sperm in order to come up with a DNA profile of a sexual predator. With new technologies that have been developed by the state labs, that technology is now 48 hours. And so we're encouraging a lot of our sexual assault response teams now, when they do swabs of areas that are important for the prosecution, is to send off these swabs, at least some duplicates, right away to a regional center up near Sacramento. And they promise to have results for those few swabs within 5 working days. Now that is good because it allows us to get a DNA profile into the master system within the United States, and you would be surprised how this inventory of DNA is leading us to cold hits, kind of like NCI. It's kind of fascinating to see the progress is being made in these labs, and I think that you're going to see many opportunities as technology gets better, and our community colleges, our state colleges, and our UCs are going to be embracing some of this technology so they can train you to be a specialist. And by the way, these SART nurses, they make a very good wage. It's the arresting jurisdiction that pays for the exam. So if they were to go to Rancho Springs and a SART nurse was to do an exam on a boy or a girl, the fee is about $800 for an examination. So it's comprehensive, but it's, again, another emerging field within the nurses' ranks that does provide for some opportunities that exist. And again, I know Rancho Springs is coming online with their program. Hemet's looking into a program. So there's going to be the availability of these nursing jobs to perform these essential skills.
A lot of the things that we've talked about within the last few minutes have been for specific jobs, licensed professionals. There are, however, some generic skills that we would be looking for any occupation coming through our organization to be considered for a position. Some of the things that we would be looking for would be basic computer skills. Most organizations these days do use Microsoft Office. We need our employees to be familiar with email, Word, how to create documents. Basic Excel is certainly going to be useful, creating basic spreadsheets. And most folks these days would need to at least be familiar with PowerPoint, how to create a PowerPoint document. A lot of these things are very user-friendly, and I know that the local organizations that do support out-of-work residents do have training professionals to be able to assist with that. Computerized medical charting is also helpful. Most hospitals and healthcare organizations will have some form of computerized medical charting. Something that's also very important is the ability to clearly articulate what job it is that you're seeking and why. These are questions that you would be asked during the interview process. A lot of times I will hear from someone, well, I just need a job, I just need to get my foot in the door. You know, that's very well and good, but the reality is there's many, many people who are competing for that same job. And during an interview, you will very likely be asked, why are you the perfect candidate for this job? Why should I hire you? And so have some idea on why it is that you want to have that job, why you really do feel that you are the ideal candidate for that company to go ahead and hire you.
And just to touch on that a bit as well, our organization prides itself on customer service. That's a big component. We've actually recently implemented an assessment for all non-nursing positions that's geared toward customer service, so keep that in mind as well.
Great.
So if I can ask the question, and you talked about the generic skills.
Yes.
And the types of things that you would look for in a candidate. But what would those jobs, I mean, these people are saying, okay, well, you want me to just be specific about that job. What are some of those jobs? Are they IT professionals? Are they administrative assistants? What might those jobs be?
Actually, it would really be any job that the person is applying for. People do need to be realistic with themselves, knowing that this is a job. Typically, the qualifications are posted, so you can review the qualifications and well, yes, I have that education. I've got that experience. I can utilize that particular computer software program. So you do have a good idea that you really are qualified for that particular position. But be able to articulate why it is that you want to work for that company. Do a little research in advance about the company so that you've got some, some information. Usually a company's history is available on their website, how long they've been in business, how large they are, what their products are. So do have some idea on why you feel that you would be a good employee at that organization. And during the interview, take the time to go ahead and, sell yourself.
In the county of Riverside, we're going through some major transformational changes when it comes to things like technology. For those of you that are from my generation, you might remember a computer language called Fortran. Believe it or not, we still have computers in the county of Riverside that still use Fortran, and we have to find consultants that allow us to keep that system alive. And it's important that we maintain that because that's what runs our property tax system. And if that goes down, that's where the bulk of revenue comes from to run the county is from property taxes. So our county, again, is the largest employer in the entire county. We have 18,000 employees, and approximately 10% of those employees are going to either find a job someplace else or they're going to retire. So you're looking at 1,800 possible jobs a year that are available in a multidisciplinary areas, such as IT, which we're talking about today. We need some people that have technological backgrounds. They don't necessarily have to have a 4-year degree, but they need to understand how to run a computer and the various softwares, Microsoft, Word documents, PowerPoint presentations. We have our planning department. We need planning technicians, people that work at the desk to take in planning applications. So if one is planning on being a planner, they can be going to school at the same time. They can be working in the planning department. Our transportation department, delivering infrastructure. Riverside County is known as a self-help county. So we have what's called Measure A, which is a 50-cent sales tax, which goes to the Riverside County Transportation Commission to deliver infrastructure. So not only is Riverside County an employer, but you've got the Riverside County Transportation Commission that is also looking for people that have a specialty in either transportation or clerical backgrounds. And then we have another sub-governmental agency called the Western Riverside County Council of Governments, which manages the transportation uniform mitigation fee that's charged to developers when they build a home. About 10 grand goes to this organization to provide for regional infrastructure. So there are opportunities within WRCOG, and they just expanded a program that now allows people to place solar panels on their homes that is financed through their property taxes. So we're going to start seeing a lot of residential and commercial owners of property embracing this program, where virtually with the federal tax credits and the money that comes from SCE, the Southern California Edison, it will cost our residents nothing out of pocket to put panels on their roofs that will zero out their electric bills. So if there is an emerging demand, I think, for employees, it's going to be in this emerging market of alternative energy, water conservation technologies, and there are classes offered in our colleges that will help prepare you for some of these emerging areas. So if you're interested in a job with the County of Riverside, you can go to the County of Riverside's website, just type in County of Riverside, California, and then you'll see a drop-down area. Go to Human Resources, and you'll see the plethora of jobs that are being offered at this time. I will tell you that getting employed with the county is a very comprehensive process. We go through extensive background checks, and it's not uncommon to take approximately 12 weeks to get through all the processes when you're finally considered for a job in the county. I mentioned before that we are going to be building new jails in the county. We're at capacity right now with 4,000 cells, and due to a very innovative trick by the state of California to take the prisoners out of the county, out of the state penitentiaries and switch them over to the county jails, we are now at capacity. So we have to build more jails, which means we have to hire more correctional deputies, and it takes about 6 months from the time that the Board of Supervisors tells the sheriff we need more deputies for him to put them through background checks. And by the way, only 3% of those that apply for a deputy job actually make it to the final interview and get hired based on background checks and felonious backgrounds and things like that. But there is going to be a need for many deputy sheriffs in this coming decade as we need to staff these newer, expanded jail facilities. Again, we have 4,000 cells now. We need 6,000 at least in the next 2 to 3 years, and we're going to be going through an aggressive capital improvement plan to deliver expanded or new jail sites in the county in the upcoming years.
So with that, still in the same vein, the county being the largest employer, like a large business, the hospitals are really large businesses when you get right down to them. So Christina, again, going back to that more generic side of things, but I mean, where does it begin? And I mean, we assume it tops out at brain surgery, right, with the types of jobs that are there. But starting down lower, I mean, what are those more generic type jobs? Again, I don't mean to ask the same question, but there are. I mean, because again, there may be janitorial, there may be food service. Can you go through a few of those for us real quickly?
I think our biggest entry-level department right now where we have a lot of need is with patient access. So, the folks, that are admitting the folks into the hospital, that's probably where our biggest need is right now. Again, I've only been with the hospital about 6 months, but over that 6-month time period, that's where I've seen the most entry-level. Unit secretary positions that do become available, those are a little more entry-level for folks to get into the hospital as well.
Good, thank you.
I would have to second that. I think that the patient access representatives are something that we always do see a need for. It's a good way for someone who does have some clerical skills, good customer service, and medical terminology to get into a hospital environment.
Okay, well, we're running close to out of time, so I would ask for a final statement from each of you, if you would.
Just again, going back to being persistent, I can't say it enough. If there's something, all of our job opportunities are available online. So I encourage you to check our website frequently. It's swhealthcaresystem.com. All of our postings are available there. If there's something that you see that you think you're qualified for, certainly submit an application, but follow up with a personal phone call or email. That's my biggest suggestion to you.
I would agree with exactly what Christina says, but one of the things that I would like to add to that is be prepared. Don't let the interview process get you wigged out and afraid to be able to clearly define what it is that is being asked of you. Practice interviewing. If you have a partner or a friend who can help you not be quite so nervous, it's very unnerving, but go in with your best foot forward, be prepared, and be able to clearly communicate why it is that you are there for the interview.
I think these are great suggestions. I believe that we're emerging out of this economic crisis. All the numbers indicate that we are. The County of Riverside has devoted significant resources to helping people that are out of work. There are many people that have been in careers for 10 and 20 years and never thought they'd have to write another resume and never thought they'd have to go interview for a job. But we can help you with those skills. And again, these services are free. On Technology Drive in Murrieta is our most recent facility. It is technologically advanced. And again, if you're nervous about interview skills, we'll help you with that. If you're concerned that your resume doesn't look right, it's not organized, we will help you with your resume. And then we will teach you the computer skills if you lack them, like I do. I need to ask my kids for assistance on the computer because I don't know how to operate a computer as well as I probably should. But we will help you with those skills to make sure that we can kind of match you for the jobs that are available. And I think that you'll be pleasantly surprised about our success in matching you with a job. My mother always brought me up with the slogan, "Seek and you shall find." There are a lot of jobs out there that are getting filled, and there's a lot of opportunities out there that are being missed. So let the county help you with our paid professionals that do nothing more than help people get matched with job opportunities that exist in this county. And please feel free to call me, look me up, again, soupjeffstone.org, or my staff at 955-1030. And we will send you to the right departments. Go on the county's website, go to Human Resources, look at the jobs that are available, look at the jobs that you think might be attractive, that might match with your skill set, and go into our workforce development offices, and they'll help you fill out the applications, help you get your resume started, help you get through the interview process, and hopefully next year as we embark on this again, that we'll see a much smaller crowd that are looking for jobs. And I wish you from the bottom of my heart good luck in finding a job, and please call upon us if we can be of any assistance.
Christina Del Grippo, Laurice Flasnick, Jeff Stone, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we would like to invite our next panel to come up. And by the way, the jobs are all going to be there when you get done. No jobs are being given away while y'all aren't there. So this is good information if you need it. So please stay and hear this out. We got the healthcare education side coming up for us now. We have Vicki Becker from Azusa Pacific University, Suzanne Lingold from California State University, San Marcos, Colleen Saunders from Mount San Jacinto College, and Robin Wiles from San Joaquin Valley College. So thank you, ladies, for being with us. Find you a good spot. And if we can just ask you to briefly introduce yourself and tell us about what it is you want to tell us in just a couple of minutes' time. Should we start with Robin, since you're on my right?
Great, thank you. My name is Robin Wiles, and I represent San Joaquin Valley College. We go by the call letters SJVC so that you don't get confused and think that we're actually still up in the San Joaquin Valley. We're local here in Temecula. Our college has been in the business of training people to go to work for 35 years, and we are brand new to Temecula. We just started serving students in July of 2011. Over those 35 years, we've been very successful, knowing that our students come to us because they want skills, they want training, and they want to go to work as soon as they graduate. They want a career. Not everyone has the resources or the personal ability to go to school for a lengthy period of time before they can see the end in sight. So we have students who come to us in an accelerated program so that they can receive an associate's degree in those skills in about 14 months and be in the workforce. We pride ourselves on our success of helping students find jobs. And even in this difficult economy, our students are successful. So to do that, we have to do a lot of research on what are the job opportunities in the community that we're going into. The trends currently show us, as everybody in front of us has said, a lot of aging population and aging workforce in a lot of the healthcare fields. And so there are many jobs outside the acute hospital that can serve you very well as you look for employment. I think that trends in medical assisting, in coding, in some of the therapy, physical therapy, occupational therapy, respiratory therapy, home health aides, medical lab technicians, and dental assistant, physician's assistants, those jobs tend to be on the rise over the next decade. And in looking for an education in a school to help you get started in the healthcare career field, take advantage of the career letter in healthcare. Again, not everybody can go to school with a commitment of 4 to 6 years, so maybe look for something that gets you in the door within 2 years or less, and then visit those higher education facilities and continue your education so that you can continue to grow in your career field and make more money. But definitely look at how can you get into the field and how can you get started so that you have that training that many of the future positions are going to require to have previous healthcare experience. We are currently just starting, and we have only 200 students, but we're looking for those programs that offer the most employability. We've recently opened respiratory therapy. We're the only program in 52 miles of the area here, and so it services a lot of the new hospitals that we hear about, which is so exciting to hear of new hospitals in our area, very well. It's an outstanding career field with the opportunity to continue your education with a bachelor's and a master's degree and grow. That workforce is actually aging itself, as Dr. Olds was saying about the physicians, the respiratory therapy, the physical therapists. They are a very aging population of professionals as well. They look in the next 10 years at 64% of their workforce having to be replaced. So, think about those things as you move forward and you're looking for educational opportunities in healthcare. Thank you.
I'm Vicki Becker with Azusa Pacific University. We've been in the area, Southwest Riverside, for 25 years, 10 years now in Murrieta. I want to take the angle, although Azusa Pacific has had a nursing program for decades, we also have management and leadership degree programs. We find coming to us RNs, respiratory therapists, people from the Human Resources Department, employees from Human Resources, who also want to promote within their own discipline, or they want to get into human resources. And the medical field is such a vast field. So they come to us, they get their bachelor degree in organizational leadership, or they increase from a bachelor's into a master's in leadership and organizational studies. And then what we find is they actually go up within the organization. So they grow with the organization. They become leaders, supervisors, more middle managers will become higher end managers, lower level managers will become middle managers. That's what we're finding. Another interesting field that we offer in Murrieta is educational technology. We are finding our former military people are going into this, and they're taking it into the medical field. Because with educational technology, you gain the skills on how to do training, on how to educate, on how to inform the people who not only answer to you but work with you, as well as create mechanisms for higher-end executives to be able to educate as well. So educational technology is a growing field. I'd also like to say that APU enjoys working with Cal State San Marcos at Temecula. We love working with MSJC, and the same thing with SJVC, and I think the four of us will say that together. So we are all working together to be an asset to this community. So I often refer to my three colleagues up here.
Oh, thank you. My name is Colleen Saunders. I am the program director of the Diagnostic Medical Sonography program at Mount San Jacinto. Mount San Jacinto has a lot of career ed technical programs that are there to help you. You know, I was told to be here like yesterday at noon, so I'm not as prepared, but I'm sorry. Anyway, and I'm one of those aging people that need replacements.
That's no excuse, I'm sorry.
Anyway, I'm one of those sonographers that needs to be replaced by somebody younger. Anyway, the college does work very, very hard at creating quick programs for quick employment. Career and technical education is one, and then nursing and allied health is the other. And so I'm in the allied health department. The DMS program is an associate's degree in diagnostic medical sonography. So you have, there's about 5 prerequisite courses that you have to take along with your AS degree before you get into the program. So you have to be prepared to work very hard to get through this program. It's a 2-year program. The second year, and this is what's the hardest, so if you want to go into this field, you have to be well prepared, is you spend 1 year, 32 hours a week at clinical training at a facility that we affiliate with. So Southwest Healthcare, Redlands Community Hospital, Desert Regional Medical Center, wherever we can get an affiliation to train our students. Plus you have classes on Friday. So it has not been impossible for single mothers to get through this program. We have students from the age of 20 to 53, I think, has been my oldest student. So a very, very diverse group of students, guys and gals alike. And you have to really like anatomy well. Sonography is different in the imaging world than X-ray or CT, in that I call this the CSI of the human body, because it is our job to look through all the organs of interest for whatever the patient's complaint is and seek out what may or may not be wrong with that patient. And the radiologist will depend wholly on you for the work that you provide. You need to be a compassionate person. You need to be willing to touch another person that you may not want to touch. You get up close and personal with your patients. And so you have to be able to set yourself aside, your own attitudes towards a patient's choice aside, and be an advocate for your patient, and give compassionate, caring, and thorough service to your patient. So in our program, alongside with learning some very difficult things like the physics of ultrasound, which is what makes that machine work, and anatomy, what the anatomy looks like on an image, I teach very strongly those areas of compassion and caring and serving your patient. I guess that's all I have to say.
I'm Suzanne Lingold with Cal State San Marcos at Temecula. And those of you who do not know that Cal State San Marcos has a campus in Temecula, we do. It's a It's about 2 or 3 blocks north of Temecula Parkway on Margarita Road. We are a 2-year transfer university and offer several bachelor's and master's programs that support the healthcare industry. Our current bachelor's and master's degree in nursing lead to careers ranging from typical registered nurse to specialty nurse areas such as the family nurse practitioner. We also have psych nurse practitioner programs. One of the degrees I wanted to highlight is the kinesiology degree, and kinesiology is the study of movement and leads students to careers, and this is a long list: physical and occupational therapy, physical education, athletic training, exercise physiology, fitness instruction, cardiac rehabilitation, public health, dietetics and sports nutrition, personal training, strength and conditioning coaching, wellness coaching, and clinical health educators. So if any of those triggered something for you, kinesiology is probably the degree you want to go for. Cal State San Marcos has 4 options to choose from in the kinesiology, and that is exercise science, health science, physical education, and pre-physical therapy. The program offered at the Temecula campus focuses on health science. We're continuing to add new programs as we work with the businesses in the region, trying to determine what best meets the needs of the workforce here. For example, we're launching a new program this fall, a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration. And as you heard earlier from the hospitals, many of the jobs within the hospitals and the healthcare industry are not specific healthcare jobs, but serve that healthcare population with a business administration degree that could lead you in that direction. And we also are launching a biotechnology lab technician certificate. It's indirectly linked with the healthcare industry, but that too will launch this fall. One of the programs we have in San Marcos is managing health information systems is a new career for those working in, that like working with technology, computer technology. So we've just launched this health information technology program in San Marcos. Gives folks the skills necessary to plan, implement, and manage health information systems. Some nurses, RNs, are specializing in this field because there's just such a huge demand for managing healthcare information. And finally, we have some programs in development. That's Masters in Public Health, Masters in Social Work, and Palliative Care programs. One of the things I do want to also mention is that MSJC and Cal State San Marcos at Temecula have signed an MOU that is called a TAG agreement. It's a transfer admission guarantee. So those students who start at MSJC and fulfill certain requirements can go seamlessly into and be admitted to select programs at the Temecula campus. The first program that we're working with is the Bachelor of Business Administration. So those students who have 60 units and have satisfied the requirements for entering that program can automatically have a guaranteed admission to that program. All of our programs are cohort-based, which means you are guaranteed your classes every semester. You know exactly the classes you'll take. You'll have a speedy road, I guess, to graduation in 18 to 24 months. So we're also talking with San Jacinto Valley. San Joaquin.
It's one of those sands, though, right?
Yeah, right. San Joaquin Valley College to do the same type of MOU. And so I guess that's
Well, thank
that's
you.
it.
And so going back to the vein, and you know you probably have already got planned what you were going to say, and I'm going to throw you off here because I'm thinking the audience, and I'm speaking for them too. But part of this is most of me. Okay, I'm not really doctor or nurse material, but there are a lot of jobs out there that require that, and each one of you spoke about those different types of jobs. So if you could get a little more into that side of it, especially more on the entry level, if you would, because Vicki, you even talked about moving up within your position. But how do you get in? How do you get your foot in the door to one of these medical jobs that is not necessarily medicine?
I've been out of work before in my long life, sister. And the first thing now with technology is to go to the website and scour the website. It doesn't also, I think it's beneficial to also go down to the Human Resources Department and look to see what jobs are posted there. And
well, should they do that before they come talk to you about an education in healthcare?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they need to see what's out there so that they can target their education to fit with the field they want to go into. For sure, none of us up here want someone to have a degree that they can't do anything with. And that's why you've invited us, Morris, because we all have a good history of our students finding jobs, and our students not only find jobs, they accelerate in their jobs. So that's what our institutions are all known for. So I would recommend that. I also know that people come to the four of us because of this thing called a piece of paper that is a diploma or a certificate. And that often gives you the edge. You may be the best in your field, but until you can prove it with an accrediting organization behind you that says, I got this at MSJC, this is the certificate, they can look at what this brings to the table, or I got it at Cal State San Marcos, or SJVC, or I got it at APU. Those kinds of certificates make a credential, a certificate, a degree, a bachelor's degree. We have a lot of, our general population would be in the 40 range, age 40 range. And they come to us because they have lost their job. They know that they would have retained their job if they would have had the piece of paper, the credential, the certificate, or the degree. So they come to us. We're an accelerated program as well. You can get your Bachelor of Science in Organizational Leadership in 15 months, and it's in the evening. So our people work during the day, or they're looking for a job during the day, and they're going to school in the evening, one night a week.
Thank you. So Robin, you're new to the area. Your school is new to the area, but you're not new in the world. But you tend to do, and again, I will be putting words in people's mouth, but you do front office type things. It's more the administrative side of it as well too that you have specialized training for in your organization.
We have both administrative and the clinical side. We do all aspects of that. Again, very smart. They're saying, you've got to know what you want to do. You got to know where your skills are. You need to know what your passion is, where you're going to be comfortable. You don't want to be applying for jobs where you don't have the skill set or the personal attributes. Some people can do blood and some people don't do blood. And there's lots of places in healthcare for you, whether or not you do blood or don't. So administrative, back office, front office, business side of healthcare is still, emerging fields. And the great thing is that there are many jobs in healthcare. I would say that for many of us who are looking for a job now, the majority of jobs in healthcare require an education and a specialized education. And so you want to know that. There's a lot of transparency in education now. You can go to websites. You can see what the the investment is and what is the value in that investment. You can see what the employability is if you use those the web tools that they have available, so that you'll know you're investing in something that is going to be of value over the next 10 years. The best way to get yourself in the door, if you've no healthcare experience, is some education. It doesn't have to be great. Again, I'm a proponent of the career ladder. Start small, get to work, and then continue on. For longevity, you need to continue on and have those degrees. But the CERT is great. It's certainly a great place to start. It's not going to make you the most amount of money, but it's the door that's going to open for you so that you can continue that education. Many years ago, like these ladies, I started out of high school as a licensed vocational nurse, thinking, oh, I'm going to be a nurse, but I'm not sure that I want to invest in years. And down the road, continued my education and got my degree, and who would have thought that I would be on the education side of that patient care. But again, I believe in that career ladder in healthcare, and so you want to look at how can I get my foot in the door, what's the first step that I need to make in education, and then how can I continue that once I have my job.
So, Colleen, yes, I'm going to come to you on that. But let me ask you a question, too, and you can answer both. Because you talked about sort of getting your hands dirty, actually doing actual real medical stuff. I would not have thought that Mount San Jacinto does that. So can you elaborate a little bit that, again, forgive my ignorance, but educate me on some of the things Mount San Jacinto does?
Well, I was just going to respond to something you said. Because of so many programs that Mount San Jacinto has. The EMT program is a one-semester program. The CNA program is a one-semester program. But they also offer community education in different support areas. I don't know if any of you caught earlier on when one of the panel spokespeople, I think the gal from Rady's, made a comment about coders. And how important billing coder is, and they're hard to keep once they're in your facility. And the school has a community education program on coding. Every single thing that is done with a patient, there's a code that relates to what that was. And the coder has to, in her billing or his billing, identify the proper code for billing to get the best reimbursement. So somebody who's trained and is really good at coding is excellent at reimbursement for the facility. I recently had a young friend come to me who's got a newborn and a one-year-old. Her father was one of my associate faculties. And she's in a very difficult position of now becoming a single mom. And while she wanted to come into my program, she was aware that the demands of the DMS program don't gel with what her personal situation is. So I told her to check out the coding, which is often on weekends. It's a special weekend course, and she could work from home, or she could work different shifts, and she could be a single mom and earn good money. And then as the children grow up, she can add to that and maybe eventually get into my program, which would give her a massive pay raise. But sometimes you have to start with the little steps so that you can support yourself and your family to make it to the big step.
Well, and that leads to a question. I'll throw this one at you, Suzanne. I mean, all this training sounds very expensive, and probably some of it is to a certain degree, but what's out there today? I mean, most of us, when I went to school, it wasn't nearly as expensive as it is today. So I really didn't look into necessarily, financing my own or grants or things like that. What is out there that a lot of people can apply for?
Well, I'm not that familiar with the financial aid process myself, but I will say that anybody that's interested in going back to school, the first thing would be to file for a FAFSA. FAFSA. And that's easy. Just go to the website. It's FAFSA.gov. And that's the first thing you have to do to seek financial aid in any area. You have to have that on file.
Yeah.
That will tell you what you're eligible for.
Yeah, and I think an important thing to always remember when you're looking at education is the advertised price is never what a typical student pays. And not to say that there's some great deals there, but there are many different ways to pay for your education, and it doesn't all have to come out of your pocket. You know, there's so many different areas to get that help in funding that education. So don't be scared away, you know. Be persistent and stick with it, because there are a multitude of agencies to support you with that.
Right. There's several grants to help single mothers, single fathers. I have a son who goes to college in Arizona, and he's received several grants and scholarships. So you have to be willing to dig in and find those sources. I personally am very grateful that he received a recent grant, because I didn't have to pay that money this semester, but there's so many opportunities, and I'm sure there's more now that there's so many displaced workers. So you have to really seek out, and the financial aid departments of all of our colleges can help you greatly with that, and counselors, I believe.
Right.
Thank you.
I would like to just, Morris, I'm going to say something.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to echo some of what they have talked about in when you're looking for a job. If you think you want to go into a particular area, I would suggest talking to someone in that profession, meeting with them, and they'll be happy to talk to you. If they love their job, they're passionate about it, and they love telling others about it and encouraging others to do that. The other thing is, while in preparing for today, I found a website. It's the American Medical Association website, and there's a lot of information about a lot of different jobs there, as well as the education that's required, salaries, potential salaries, that sort of thing.
So with our last few minutes here, I'm just going to ask each of you ladies to give us your last thoughts. So Robin, would you start?
Well, I guess my parting words would be, again, be persistent, find something that fits your personality, your personal attributes, and remember the career ladder in healthcare. Don't feel like you have to go all the way to the top. Get your foot in the door. Start with some of those positions, those educational opportunities that have less than 2 years, maybe training and education, and then continue your education, because that's really what secures your safety in healthcare is furthering your education down the road.
Do some of those self-assessment tests that are free, that are offered by the county, so that when you make the leap into committing to more education, committing to a new job, it's actually something where you can have some personal longevity.
I believe that if you have a keen interest in an area, that volunteering, or if you're not sure what you want, a lot of times volunteering in different areas will open your eyes to something that you had no idea you had an interest in, which could then lead you through to a career. I personally hold workshops at twice a semester on the DMS program, which anybody and everybody are welcome to come to if you want to gain more interest in what it's all about, because it's not all about looking at cute little babies. It's a whole lot of other stuff. So look for workshops that are available at the different school levels, and informational, similar things like this that the schools offer that describe the different programs that are out there, because there's a lot of very, very interesting programs that your local community colleges are offering that can put you to work quickly.
And I can't add too much. My colleagues have said a lot, but I just re-emphasize the need to do your research and be persistent in that research. Don't give up on yourself. It's taken my daughter 5 years to finally figure out what it is she wants to do. So hopefully we've done that, but it just takes a lot of patience and persistence.
Very good. Robin Wiles, Vicki Becker, why can't I think of your last name? I'm looking right at you and I know it. Colleen Saunders and Suzanne Lingold, thank you very much. Appreciate you being here today. Everyone in the audience, all of our panelists are in the room over there, so please, any further questions you might have them, ask them there. We thank you all for being here, so go find a job.
Go find a job.
Thank you.